All right, good morning and welcome back to our channel, Princess Seed. Today is the 17th of July 2025, and I want to just be free to talk about this morning. Over the past weeks, a lot of voices have spoken, and different pieces of information have also flown in from various directions concerning this long awaited disbursement. And now we are headed towards the 28th of July, set to be fixed by the IMF themselves. Not, in other words, not by hearsay, not by street speculations, but by some credible voices that is close to the process. They've given us this intel. Yes, we understand the concerns and the worries. We also understand that a lot of us have waited and waited only to see some previous timelines fail. Some people are already asking if this is another salary week or another salary week excuse. Yes, like the ones that we've had in the past. And others are already dismissing this as one of those dates that come and go without results. But we ask you today not to give up hope. First, I want to dwell on the fact of why this time may be different. Did you just hear what I say? Why this time might not be like other times that was flinged in the air and nothing actually happened about it. Now, one of the strongest points about the 28th of July date is that it did not come from Apostle Ken. It did not come from Apostle Ken. It also did not come from some anonymous Telegram channels, unverified broadcasts. According to the information that was gathered, this time the date was fixed by IMF themselves. Now, which gives it more weight and a level of seriousness. Also, some respected voices in the system like Ngozi Israel, like Osim, have also confirmed the report. We are not relying on just one source of information. The likes of Pastor Donald Obasi Okorie, Reverend Elibo, and some other personalities also within this ecosystem have spoken publicly, which gave hope to people who may have begun to lose faith in the process. Now that shows that this information has some level of credibility and not just hope tied to dreams. Now, further to this, let us also not forget that these are people who also stand to lose their own reputations if things don't work out. They wouldn't put their names on the line for something they wouldn't or were not confident about. They could say, well, but they've said some things in the past that never did come to pass. They are humans too. Yes, just like you and I have said certain things in the past that never came out, but that didn't stop us believing. I'm not making case for anybody, you understand? But you also know that they've said certain things in the past that did come to pass. So all of us are at a vantage point where what actually counts right now is expectation, faith, process, and hope. Then your belief system also counts, which you have to know that it's what you believe that comes to you. Yes. So while we understand the fear, we ask you to hold on with a positive mind. If you have waited this long, don't let a few days or a few more days to break your spirit. Now, secondly, Apostle Ken's mute stand. You know what I mean? Apostle Ken's mute stand. There's been a lot of talk about Apostle Ken's silence in recent times. While some sees his silence as weakness, others believe that it is strategic. But sometimes I believe that silence is not absence. Sometimes it is wisdom. In some of the comments that trailed our submission, some have said that it is his silence that brought in all of these comings, and everyone has had to do this and that. Yes, rightly so. Yes, rightly so. I wouldn't blame anybody who says that, because yes, Apostle Ken is supposed to speak and is supposed to clear some things. If he is not speaking, he might have his personal reasons, but he has been in this ecosystem having people who believed in him. You don't just leave them to just believe whatever they like. A lot of people come in to speak a lot of things, and some have dribbled a lot of people, took money from them because they just want to be on the line. So they don't know what they believe. They don't even know where they stand. They don't know who is selling what. We, the influencers, we are trying our best to keep people away from being scammed. We are talking. Our voices are coming out more, which not supposed to be. We will have a kind of straightforwardness if the voice of the country director actually comes out, maybe, even if it is maybe 2 or 3 times within a month, then there will be more directions to what people believes in or what they are left to just take on. But too long silence has consequences. It does. It does. The ecosystem need to be having direction. Yes, he might not be speaking, but the voice coming from the secretary to the Sanctuary World Multipurpose Foundation should be more frequent, often frequent, on certain ways forward. Yes, they're trying their best in recent times, coming out to debunk certain assertions or claims by some unscrupulous elements. But I think there is more that people expected from that organ. Yes. The journey so far has been filled with a lot of attacks, a lot of criticisms, fake news, and even spiritual warfare. And as some who has carried this vision from the beginning, Apostle Ken may have chosen to stay quiet to avoid some unnecessary distractions. I agree to that 100%. But at the same time, the people expect more. People expect a lot of communication that should fill in some gaps, while certain people shouldn't enter into certain deals because there is a cause. Now, what matters is the progress and not who speaks the loudest. If we are truly after the delivery of this divine assignment, then we must be focused on the goal, not just the faces or the voices. And from all indications, it seems a glorious delivery is truly around the corner. We shouldn't spread the panic. We should pray. Yeah. Before I end this conversation, on the cluster heads and the payback issues, I need to talk about that. On the cluster heads and the payback issues, it's a very sensitive matter. The issue of the cluster heads demanding paybacks from beneficiaries. Now, some people have boldly declared that cluster heads must not collect anything from the beneficiaries. Well, I do not have the authority to affirm or counsel such claims, and I'm not here to cause conflict between cluster heads and the people. But let's be honest and pragmatic about the whole thing. Not all cluster heads are greedy. or corrupt. No. Some of them have genuinely spent their own personal money, their time, their data, their energy, their sleepless nights to ensure that thousands of people were registered and carried along. Some of them never signed agreements for a fund or commission. They only wanted to be part of something very impactful. Now listen close to me, because sometimes I discover that some people don't read before they comment. Certain people, I beg to say this, but a lot of people don't read, or they don't listen. They don't seem to listen to the end of whatever thing they are listening to. They don't seem to listen to the end, or to listen in between the lines before they comment. Sometimes finger seems to be faster, which ought not to be. Now, some will not listen in between the lines right now to get my point and my assertions. They just say what is in their mind. And that's not nice. That's not nice. There are some cluster heads that have not signed agreements for a fund or commission with anybody. They just want to be part of an impact. But there are also some who are taking things to the extreme. Now get the balance here. There are some cluster heads who are taking things to the extreme. We have seen demands for 40%, for 50% and above. But now, that's unfair. That is exploitation, and is against the purpose of the entire grant, which is basically to uplift the less privileged. But also, this is where agreements comes in. If you had an agreement with your cluster head or NGO about refund or compensation, then honor that. Honor that agreement. So long as it is a fair and reasonable agreement, honor your agreement by the time the fund lands. If there was no agreement, then no one should be forced to give what they never consented to. The key word here is fairness. Let there be accountability, not abuse. There should be mutual understanding. There shouldn't be force or threats. We must all remember that the money coming is not a war prize. It is a gift of destiny, and if it is misused or when it is abused, it may turn into a curse instead of a blessing. Yes. So let us not spread panic. Let us pray. We don't want to keep our people in frivolities. No one gains anything from unnecessary tension. And this is why we must encourage everyone, especially those who are mentally tired. Let them slow down and take this matter to prayers. We know you've heard that many times already. A lot of these talks have been heard. But this time, let your prayer not just speak or be for quick disbursement alone, but also for fairness, for transparency, for unity. Pray that those in the corridors of power do not misuse what belongs to the people. Pray for divine intervention. Let it be in the remaining processes. Pray for peace. Pray for a heart of patience. We may not know every technical detail behind the delays, but we know that nothing good comes without a fight. There has been progress. There have been trials, but God's hand is not too short to bring this to pass. No, 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 no. It is not. Let us watch. Let us not war. This is not a time to attack one another or trade blames. This is not a time to curse pastors, to insult cluster heads, to abuse NGOs. This is the time to be watchful, not warlike in nature. Let us stay united. whether as beneficiaries, cluster leaders, NGO partners, let us keep our hearts clean and our conscience is very pure, so that when the trumpet of disbursement finally sounds, we cannot rejoice with no guilt or grudges. No one is perfect. Mistakes have been made at different times. Some people have acted out of fear, some out of greed, and some out of confusions. But now more than ever, we must all focus on the goal, not just on the money, but on the transformational power that comes with the financial breakthrough for all of us. We need to plan. How will you use the fund wisely? What investments are you considering? What will you do to impact others positively? If you're not mentally ready, even the best disbursement will not help you. So take this time to prepare your mind, your spirit, and your purpose. I want to call for patience. There are brothers and sisters on this platform within the Grand ecosystem. The signs are clear that we are closer than ever to the fulfillment of what we have long waited for. The pain of waiting, it has been heavy. Yes, but we are also convinced that the joy of delivery to us is going to be greater. So as we wait for July 28, let us all keep our hopes alive. Let us stay away from scammers. Let us avoid panic and gossip. Let us hold on one another. Let us hold up one another and hold on in faith. We need to hold up in faith. We must be mentally and spiritually ready. If the information proves true, and we strongly believe it, then we will all look back at this time with tears of joy, not anger or regret. This journey has taught us patience. It has taught us how to be faithful. We've walked through the valleys of doubt. We've climbed the mountains of trust. But now we see the light at the end of the tunnel. Let us be hopeful and not be hateful. When it finally happens, you will be glad that you stood firm and you did not give up. Glory is coming. Disbursement is near, and you would not be left behind. This is Prince CC Channel. Subscribe to our channel for regular updates, information coming at the lee and the wake of our expectations. Thank you very much. I'll come your way again before nightfall. Until then, do have a nice day.